let's look at two famous sauces from the UK in this episode of Antique Bottle Stories. Joshua Percy Fletcher was born in 1879. He was the son of a coal merchant in Silsden, England. By 1901, he established himself as a dry salter, which is a pickle manufacturer. Fletcher started producing his sauces at the Airedale Works in Shipley, England. He also had a glass bottle manufacturing plant in Leeds. Fletcher registered his business in 1907, and then he just started working on only his sauces. Then Fletcher acquired the rights to produce the popular Titbits sauce from another company in 1913. The sauce manufacturing plant and the bottle works plant were transferred to a factory at Selby in 1915. There's not much information anywhere on how his famous tiger sauce came about. I don't know if it was an already established sauce like the Titbits sauce, or if Fletcher came up with it himself, I don't know. But millions of bottles of the Tiger Indian sauce were sold every year by 1922. Tiger sauce is a fruity but spicy brown sauce, named because it was influenced by the spices of India. When I try to find any websites for the tiger sauce, I just keep coming up with this new tiger sauce called Try Me Tiger Sauce. It seems to have the same basic concept, a sweet, spicy condiment for meats. A guy named Arthur Lambert Foster was managing the company by 1931, and it was later co-managed with Fletcher's son, Tom Bias Fletcher. No pictures for either of them that I can find. J.P. Fletcher, he died in 1960. In 1947, Fletcher's was bought by H.P. Sauce of Birmingham. Fletcher's was still one of the leading brown sauces in Yorkshire into the 1970s. H.P. sold the Selby site to Hazelwood Foods in 1982. Tiger sauce ended up being discontinued in the 1980s, and the Titbit sauce was discontinued in the early 1990s. Now let's look at another brown sauce produced in England called Daddy's Favorite Sauce. In 1899, Edwin Sampson Moore, the owner of the Midland Vinegar Company in Aston Cross, Birmingham, England, made a visit to one of his customers who owed him a debt for vinegar. That man was Frederick Gibson Garton, a Nottingham grocer who had a small sauce factory. Garton explained it was his new sauce called HP sauce. Yes, the same, HP sauce. Edwin Moore canceled the debt, and he ended up paying Garton £150, which is almost 20,000 pounds in today's money, for the recipe of the HP sauce and also other sauces, including Daddies Sauce. The brown sauce product, known as Daddy's Favorite Sauce, shortened to Daddies Sauce, was launched in 1904, and the ketchup was launched in 1930. From what I understand, both of these brown sauces, the Fletchers and the Daddies, kinda resembled something similar to our A1 sauce that we have in America. The brand is now owned by H.J. Heinz Company, having been bought as part of the acquisition of HP Foods in 2005. Production of Daddies Sauce has now been moved to Poland, and you can still buy it today. Both of these bottles are very small. The older versions of both of these bottles would have had this burst lip or cracked lip, leaving a thin, ragged, sharp edge. This is a British technique to produce cheap bottles that don't need any lip finishing. This is not a sheared lip. Sheared lips are not thinned, but are as thick-walled as the rest of the neck. It probably would have been closed with a glass stopper, wrapped in a cork, or just a cork. Although you have to be careful because the top of this bottle is very sharp. The large majority of mouth-blown bottles, probably at least 95%, date before World War I. Here's a early 1900s clip of what glassmakers look like while making the bottles. The one blowing is called a gaffer. The mold boy is usually a teenager. The gaffer makes the gather from the glass, rolls the parison, which is the mass of molten glass, on the table, and then he quickly drops the parison into the mold, which the boy quickly snaps shut. The gaffer quickly inflates the bottle, and watch how the second guy blows a bubble out of the top, then bursts off the blowpipe while pulling the blowpipe away from the mold. The mold boy then removes the bottle from the mold with tongs, while the gaffer knocks off the residual glass from the end of the blowpipe, and then he moves back to the glass tank to make another gather. The two gaffers are doing all of this on a staggered timing sequence with each other to produce a bottle about every 20 seconds. This film clip is from the Owen, Illinois Glass Company. Most American-made mouth-blown bottles start out with this burst-off lip. Then a lip is applied to cover the jagged edge. Every so often you will see an American-made bottle with the unfinished lip, but this was a cheaply made bottle, so the extra effort wasn't put into these. Fletchers sauces were only being produced in Shipley between 1907 and 1915, so that's when this bottle dates. There's a lot of imperfections from the manufacturing process of this one, and I actually love that there's debris in the glass. Nobody seemed to care since these bottles weren't meant to be kept. My bottle doesn't specify which sauce was in here either. The Daddies Sauce bottle appears to be machine made, and I would say it dates after 1920 because it's colorless. And the colorless bottles became more popular after 1920 because companies wanted the customers to be able to see the contents of the bottle better. So that's it for this episode. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.